All right, guys, so now we have troubleshooting the defenses. So when you find yourself in really deep attacks with people, a common thing that beginners, and I mean, I'm a black belt, I come across this all the time, so I want anybody that's a beginner to know that black belts deal with that same kind of anxiety with wondering whether they're doing the right thing or not. That's never gonna go away. Just be comfortable in that. But what I wanna say is, when you're in a good, tight attack, whether by a lower belt or a higher belt, and you're having to second guess things or maybe something's not going your way, I want to provide you some information that's a good go-to, a good easy DIY that will help you in your defenses. So when we're going for the hitchhiker, a main thing I would say, hands down, would be the ability to point your thumb and to be able to roll to your shoulder. Now, I'm gonna be real honest. Sometimes people are just gonna have such a tight armbar. You're gonna try and do everything the right way, and they're not gonna let you have that. But as he's falling back, he's not gonna let me have that thumb point. You see what I'm saying? And that can make things very difficult, and realistically, to get good at this, you're probably gonna have to get armbarred a couple times to be able to build up this defense. So when I'm here and he begins to fall back, I want to show you something. I want you to bridge like this and then point your thumb this way. So if you do this, this is the extra oomph. I've already got an angle and my hips up to the ground. That now I'm right here. Now I want to be very careful and not hang out here, but also not pop my head up like I had brought up to you guys before. I want to bring my arm around and end up in this twisted side control, if possible, or any other dominant position. So let's go through that one more time. So when in the hitchhiker and he's getting ready to go for that arm bar and I want to get that hitchhiker, remember, I'm just about have let go, but I know he's going to break the grip. So he's doing it. I lift my hips up and point my thumb this way. It forces my body to have an angle that gives me a defense. I'm bridged on my shoulder. My hips are up. I rotate under my arm. And now I've got my head up next to his thigh, so I'm not at risk of a triangle. I'm going to bring my free arm over and end up here in this twisted side control. I like this position because I could do a lot from here. I can walk my hips behind and start setting up back control, darces, anacondas. When dealing with the hitchhiker, the easy thing to do would be to bridge your hips up to force the hitchhiker when you're not going to be able to turn your wrist. And sometimes in situations, you're going to roll with people who are going to teach you, I'm the one that's not going to let you turn your wrist. So when you come across these people, at least you have a tip to prepare you for this. So make sure you're trying this on the mat. Not only just this, but I want to go over the next one. The same thing that we're going to have an issue with is going to be that trapping of the leg escape. So when I'm here and he's got it, I have that limited time to get this elbow under. And it may not happen. So from right here, I get my elbow under his thigh. This is my big thing. If I can't get that, I need to figure something else out, and it may have to be a hitchhiker. So I get my elbow under his thigh, and sometimes when I'm here, what he'll end up doing is he'll take his foot right here and he'll push my thigh away and bring his leg back out. And I've seen people do this where I'm like, yeah, I got the defense. And they do just that. So to ensure that we don't let that happen, we get that shin right there behind the knee. This is like a little supercharged version of this technique. If you have an issue with someone like this, what you're gonna do is you're gonna push this up, bring your arm out. It's an easy wedge. You end up in this situation, which is the dog bar. So what this is this is a preparation for when I try to get this under and I'm here, but he uses that left leg of his to push my thigh away and gets his arm back across, and now it's too late. A lot of times we realize, yeah, that's it, we're done. So look, I get my elbow under the thigh, and I'm gonna wedge my knee right here. Real good way to troubleshoot this situation is to just outright get your shin under here and wedging your arm out. Following through into that same position that we were in before, this is called the dog bar. It's a leg lock of the knee variety, and then this is called a toe hold. Very effective. And then twisted side control. We can do a lot of things from here. That position with trapping the leg, that's definitely a common thing. I want to also touch base on something else from this position, that when you're trying to trap the leg, before you get there, sometimes they're going to try and kick your leg away, and you are going to have to mix a combination of that first troubleshooting technique I just showed you with the hitchhiker, and you're going to have to bridge and immediately go for escapes out the back door. So out the back door would be that movement we're doing in the hitchhiker. So like, let's say I'm right here and I'm trying to get into this, but before I do, he uses this foot to push this arm away. So use your right, boom. And now when he's right here, I'm kind of, this is it. Like I can't rely on trapping his leg now. I have to switch to the hitchhiker. So for me to do that, I can't guarantee I'm gonna point my thumb away. I'm gonna bridge my hip, and now I've got myself into the hitchhiker. I'm bringing my head out in that same position that we just did earlier. So you're combining defense 1, hitchhiker, with defense 2, the leg trap. Leg trap doesn't work. They're starting to get a very successful armbar. You will see this, you will go through this. This is a point in time where you need to drop the ego and go directly to something else. If you can start to identify when you don't have one thing and switch to another fundamental defense, i.e. the hitchhiker, do that. But make sure that we're bridging our hips when we're doing that. Without using him, and my arm is extended, bridge your hips so that your body has all this space to go under this arch and come around to take your arm out. Now, we have the stack. Now, there's two problems with the stack, like the ability to be able to get up to your knees, like how do we do that? And sometimes that involves mixing defense number 2. We'll call stack defense number 3 in this case, because the stack is the final defense. We want to go for the end of the road first, which is our hitchhiker, our medium ground, which is trapping the leg, and then we have defense number 3, the stack. So can you get up to your knees? Or sometimes we end up in a situation where we have the stack, but the person isn't letting go, and you feel that if you make even the slightest mistake, it's going to result in an armbar. I mean, we've all been there. So with this situation, he's got me in the armbar, and let's even say for the sake of defense, I've got the complete rear naked choke grip. I'm pretty solid right here. But the problem is pull your legs in really tight. Now, this is not going to be easy to stand up. So that's why when I was going over the swinging of the legs, this is a very important thing. Walk your legs almost like you're trying to hitchhike and swing your knees. That way, when we're here in this defensive position, we've got up to our knees, step your leg up right here behind the butt. And something you could do that one of my students would do is take your knee and put it on their neck. That way, when you are extending, if they try to finish the armbar, they're kind of pulling your weight down onto their neck because they'll have to abandon their pushing you off of their neck and have to focus on the armbar. So you put them in like a catch-22. So let's do that one more time. I've got my rear naked choke grip. His legs are in tight. I swing my legs forward and I'm gonna swing them back. Now, rotate around. And I'm gonna take my knee, put it right here in the neck. Totally legal. Lean, pull my arm out. Now, I would try this whether with a partner that you trust. I would explain that, hey, I'm working on something like this, because knee on neck positions are very useful in jiu-jitsu, but like leg locks, like wrist locks, like sudden devastating submissions or positions, we want to communicate with our partners that you're about to do something like that. So make that something that you don't mind communicating. Let's get back to the stack defense though. So let's say I end up on my knees, but now I'm just like right here. I ain't going anywhere. I'm one of those people. I won't let you go if I have the arm bar and you have me in the stack. I want to stay in on this. And if I make even the slightest mistake, like if I go like this, I'm getting arm barred. And my student right here will definitely take anything he can get on me, just like anybody else in the gym. So the main thing I want you guys to focus on is take this knee, push it in to the back of their hip, and literally lean this knee down right here. Now I'm gonna wedge my knee right here into their hip so that when they try to extend, I'm pressing my knee away from their hip. Go ahead and try to extend. I use my knee to wedge and push myself away from them. So I'm taking the knee behind the butt right here, and I set it up to where I'm stacking very deep, and then I'm gonna switch my knee to being right here. So now I'm gonna start feeding or baiting the, you got the arm bar, bro. But when he goes to extend, I extend my upper body away by pushing my knee into his hip. So I'll get here, I'll push down, I'll put my knee into the hip, and then I'm using my knee right here in the hip to extend myself and not be able to get arm barred, especially with having my frame in the back of that knee. So you're sitting in the stack forever. How are you gonna get out? Create a wedge using your knee against their hip. They are going to engage their hips to finish you anyways. So creating a wedge on the part of their body that they're using to attack you is conducive to helping your escape. If you're doing a stack defense, you also can use your knee wedged on their neck to be able to pull your arm out. Like I said, if you use something like that, communicate it with your partner. So we've gotten some troubleshooting things out of the way. Watch these videos over and over again and try these situations with your partners, because I'm positive these troubleshooting aspects and tips can help you catch these fundamental submissions and the little improvised submissions that you're gonna get in situations that are gonna be all too common for you to deal with.